your dreams trying to tell you something? Author M.B. Mosley teaches you how to decode your dreams and take hold of the manifestations that lay in wait for you in the waking realm. Now, broadcasting all over the world, it's the Dream Interpretation Podcast.
Decoding Dreams Podcast is a podcast geared to teach you on how to understand the dreams that are coming through to you in your spiritual dream realm. It is a podcast that teaches you on how to decipher and decode the symbols that are within the dreams in the spiritual dream realm. Of course, with a cautionary tale of understanding that each dream is unique to the person that dreams of the dream, and that not all dreams are a one-size-fits-all. Matter of fact, every single dream is different in context, in symbol, and in messages, depending on one's personal beliefs, spiritual background, religious beliefs, and all other kinds of characteristics that can pertain to that. Here at Decoding Dreams, I teach you on the basics of understanding the general symbols so that you can then put those symbols next to your personal waking life and unravel the gift of message from the spiritual dream realm. It is your host and author and sister friend, M.B. Mosley, a.k.a. Memory Bengessa Mosley, a.k.a. Memory Bengessa. Welcome back. Dream decoding class is back in sesh. So, how are you doing today? How's your mental? How's your physical? How is your soul doing? I'm doing honky-dory, I guess you could say. I finally tackled the chore of doing the hair. I'm happy. Got that all taken care of. Feeling mighty sexy over here. But I hope that this podcast finds you and your family doing alrighty. If you're new to the podcast, I welcome you. If you're old to the podcast, I welcome you. If you have been in and out of the podcast, I welcome you as well. All right. So, in order for the dream decoding sessions to be more effective, I always advise to tap back into the previously recorded podcasts under the dream decoding series, so that way you can get a grasp of where we are today. So, in the last couple of recent episodes for dream decoding, we have been looking in the book written by Robert J. Haas, and this book is entitled Dream Language, Self-Understanding Through Imagery and Color. So on the last podcast, we left it off in the section where we spoke about where the author writes about relate to a life situation. So I was excited to come back now to this part and take into consideration I have a copy that I purchased off the Kindle app, and what I did was get the first sample, because you get to get some sample pages, and I marked what those are so that I can discuss these with you and we can honor the author's book without going through someone's book and not paying for the entire content. So the information we're working with here is information that you can find as a free sample preview if you have a Kindle device and you download the book. And also this next part, come to find out, if you don't have a Kindle device or you don't want to deal with all that Kindle stuff, you can actually follow it's in one word, dreamscience.org, working with color in dreams. Today we're going to be talking about colors. And if you remember at the top of the podcast, when I introduced this book, I felt like I wanted some material and someone with experience in the dream realm to give a different perspective. It might sound redundant or things that I've said before, but I was just looking for the right author and the right person that has lived in this field. And the author, Robert J. Haas, has years and years and years of experience. And so today we are diving into the color work section. And so I'm going to read through that section. And then I'm also going to give an example from a dream that I had about 3 weeks ago or so. So the color work section in the book Dream Language, Self-Understanding Through Imagery and Color. if there was, and this is under the color work, okay? And if you all remember, as I have talked about the importance of symbols, it's also the importance of colors. And the color part is very, very important, might I add, because it definitely helps you decode that symbol. Whether you dream of a lion and it's pink, so you want to understand, okay, what's the symbolism of a lion in my dream? But furthermore, what's the symbolism of the color pink? And then you want to pair those up and relate those to your waking life. And if you remember on the dream interpretation sheet that's found on my website, I also give reference there for information, as much information as you can write, including colors. So let's go into the work of Mr. Haas on the color work section. So it says, if there was a unique color in the dream or dream image, pick the closest color in the color questionnaire table. And the color questionnaire table is in his book, as well as you can find a chart on his website. And that website, pulling it up, is dreamscience.org, working with color in dreams. You scroll down and there's a single color to emotional associations chart, but there's amazing information before you hit that chart as well. All right, so pick the closest color in the color questionnaire table. Read the statements for that color and select any that trigger a connection with feelings or a situation in your waking life. So I like to further expound, right? It says, read the statements for that color and select any that trigger a connection with feelings. So you want to say with feelings and or emotions, right? You could argue, one could argue and say it's the same thing, but be very cautious and alert when you're doing your dream decoding, because every emotional state does also matter. And so with feelings and or emotions or a situation in your waking life. So let's read that one more time all together as a paragraph. So it does say, with the color work, if there was a unique color in the dream or dream image, pick the closest color in the color questionnaire. Read the statements for the color and select any that trigger a connection with feelings or a situation in your waking life. Then there is a note in parentheses here. The emotional themes in the table are intended to trigger your own personal associations. They are not the meaning of the color. Almost feel like I have to reiterate that. Note, the emotional themes in the table are intended to trigger your own personal associations. They are not the meaning of the color. So if you understand, sidebar, if you understand that all things spiritual, including spiritual dream realm, is directly affiliated with your emotional / feeling state, then you will understand furthermore how to decode your dreams. All right. So on part C here, they state that the author states, recall the waking life situation and your feelings at the time. So there is an ongoing theme here, and I've detailed this on my sheet as well, because you always want to recall the waking situation and your feelings at that time. And that's why you will hear my disclaimer say, dreams are not a one size fits all. Even if ironically a husband and wife wake up that day and they both had a dream of walking a pug in the park, same colored pug, same park atmosphere. Ironically, somehow this two happen to have almost an identical dream. Both of them are walking on two different journeys, even though they're husband and wife. And both of those dreams still have two separate meanings for each individual, just depending on their waking life as well. All right. So part C, it says, recall the waking life situation and your feelings at the time. Relate that connection to the dream and the imagery work above. What new perspective does the color add? That's very powerful. So now we're going to take what we have learned from the color section there. And you all remember, as I've been teaching you all on how to decode your dreams, decoding dreams is definitely deciphering symbols that turn into messages that relate to your waking life. All right. So this dream happened about 3 weeks ago. I'm picking up my dream interpretation sheet, and this interpretation sheet can be found on my website. At the end of the podcast there, you will get a little message where you could find these links. And so as it pertains to the dream interpretation sheet, the first question I have put on there is, what did you dream about? So before we get into the breakdown of the dream interpretation sheet, suffice it to say, I need to explain this amazing dream. And I can't wait. You all, every time I talk about decoding dreams, I start to get so excited because I get ahead and then I have to remind myself that, look, I'm teaching people and I'm teaching all kinds of people. I have to make like a conscious reminder to myself. And what I mean about I'm teaching all kinds of people, that means I'm teaching people that are just starting out to understanding on how to understand their dreams. And perhaps there are people that already know how to decode their dreams and they want insight and so forth. So everybody is on a different learning path. So I personally have to be conscious about that because I get so excited. You all, if I had it my way, I'd have probably been inundating you with a lot of information. But I'm like, no. Let's pace ourselves, baby steps, so that this dream decoding podcast can be effective for all students. Because I know I've always dropped little breadcrumbs about future podcasts to come, but as I get into what I'm going to do is discuss the dream I had, and then we're going to break it down together, and we're going to break it down as it pertains to colors. But because I get so excited about the future of the next topics to come and how far we're going to go, you guys, the rabbit hole goes deep when it comes to things of the spiritual realm, and especially in our dream state. And I get so giddy. And I'm only explaining that right now because this next dream was a part where I was going to sleep. I'd been working on an exercise. I work on different exercises. Once again, this is to come, class. We got to stay the course, but just off the base, because I have to give a little backstory to get to this dream so it can make a little bit more sense. So I've been working with a lot of different parts. I typically challenge myself as well when I go to lay down, depending on what's going on in my life. I enjoy going into the spiritual dream realm if I need answers, if I'm seeking solutions, if I need to know something, and for me personally, if I need healing. I mean, all of that stuff is to come. I'm like so giddy, and I would love to teach it right now, but we'll bring it in. We'll bring it in baby steps. And so this past endeavor exercise that I was doing, I wanted to, I've known that I've had my guides around me and of course my ancestors, but I wanted to communicate with my guide. Okay. Don't judge. We will get there as a class. I have to give you just a sprinkle of a backstory. Anything and everything is possible, especially in the terms of spiritual connection and spiritual realm. Oh, it's an infinite possibility. You guys, I get so excited. So, but at this time, I really wanted to just really talk to my guide. I wanted to see my guide. So this challenge for myself this endeavor was to seek my guide. So I'd been seeking my guide little by little before I went to bed. I just wanted to converse with them. Mainly, I'm nosy. I just want to see you. Okay. And so I just want to see you. So what happened? And then because at this point in time, there were a lot of things happening for me for me in my waking realm. And one day I'll be able to really discuss all of this once it all kind of pieces together, because I don't think it's fair for me to give you piece by piece of that story of my life until the full circle comes, right? And tune into Spiritual Sweet Spots. That's where I will unfold that. We've been having great series there. But listen, so as you have it, there was this like thing that I was fearful of that I need to do as it pertains to who I am and who I'm trying to become on this journey. And this is something that's really detrimental for me. And so I really wanted to see my guide, other than always feel my guides and always feel my ancestors around me. So what I did was I set the intentions. Yes, we're going to go down that rabbit hole of intention setting, and even in as far as seeing into the spiritual realm, to seeing almost as you may have it, psychic ability. But listen, don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Anything and everything is possible. But listen, without throwing a lot of people off. So my intention for that was to just meet up with my guide. Usually most nights I'm meeting up with the divine. I say, okay, I'll see you in the spiritual dream realm. Let's go kick it, have a good laugh or, hang out. But this time it was for my guide. So what happened as I pick up, okay, we're not picking up the notes yet. We're going to get there. Let's get to the dream. So when I went to sleep that night, I was walking in that dream. It almost was like a fantasy picture. It was peaceful. It was like, I don't know how to describe the rocks that we were walking by, because it was close to a pond, but not so much like cobblestone, but they were like bigger rocks pieced together. And the guide was walking right to my left. And most times I always have these knowings. And so it was like, I knew they were to my left. They were wearing like dark green, almost like a seafoam green. Need to write that down. Missed that part. All right. Let me get my pencil and put guide seafoam green. Okay, so I could see the pants, I could see the shoes, but I could not make out if they were like a female or a male or what was going on. I couldn't see above the waist per se, as I was walking side by side, but not so close. And it was like one of those peaceful, really slow strolls. And to the right was a pond with lotus flowers. So to the right was this pond, but it had like almost like a light white tint. And it was full of lotus flowers in there. And so bizarre, as dreams happen sometimes. And there were 3 alligators in the water. There was a baby blue alligator. They were colored. Like, I was like, I don't know. It was the dream. Okay. Don't ask me any questions. So there was a baby blue alligator. There was a yellow alligator, and there was a green alligator, literally like in real life dreaming. And these were not like statues or like pond decorations. They were like alligators. They were poking their heads out of the water. And as I was walking in this bubble of peace, and I was walking so close to the pond, I took a step to the right, and I ended up in the pond. And the first thing that happened when I went into the pond, fear overcame me, because in my mind, there were 3 alligators in this water, and they were going to get me. And so, freaking out in the moment, I put my elbows right by the side of the pond wall, and I was trying to pull myself up, and I was kind of like in that dream in my mind, freaking out, like, because I felt like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna get like a alligator's gonna take a chunk off my leg. And I'm trying to pull, so I had my arms and my elbows, and I was trying to like pull my body weight up, and the guide reached out. I never saw their fingers or anything like that. It was a dark green sweater. All I know is the hand reached out and pulled me. It was like with so much strength, like just one pull, and I came right out of the pond. And it's like a sigh of relief overcame me. And then the words were, see, help is always there. And then of course I went to a whole nother cycle of dreams and so forth. As you know it, you have little mini episodes and you keep going and you keep going and you keep going. But when I woke up, I was relieved. I felt good. I was at peace, because the thing that I feared the most about this journey that I'm on had almost been per se confronted, right? It's not something that the fear dissolves immediately, but I guess it was affirmed. There was an affirmation, and it was comforting to know and to see. And because I'd been setting my intentions for that to meet my guide, it wasn't just a one-day preparation. I'd been setting my intentions spiritually through meditation, picking myself up, because at the same time I was kind of scared, right? Because I was like, if I see their face, I don't know, I'm gonna freak out, because about putting a specific face on it, will I recognize this person, and so forth, because as you know, with all things spiritual, your guides could be your ancestors, your ancestors being your past relatives, and or people that you may have met here and there, and they opted to be your guide here on earth. So anyways, that was kind of a cute mystery. Let's get into the quake. I'm realizing now on my notes, as I was telling you that I was missing out on a couple of things that I wrote down here. And so we're going to go and grab the dream interpretation sheet that you can find on my website. And all the link information will be at the end of this video. All right, so when you look at the dream interpretation sheet, today we were learning about the color work. And we're going to incorporate that color work because we definitely want to know what's going on with the baby blue color, what's going on with yellow, what's going on with the green alligator. And then family, the next thing is, what do alligators symbolize in my life, right? Listen, okay, I don't want to be in a pond. Heck, do alligators even end up in a pond? I mean, I thought they I don't know. I don't know. But you get the point. So anyways, it was a pond. But listen, so the thing being, alligators are something that would be kind of scary for me personally. But then it's like they had these colors which kind of softened them up and not so ferocious, I guess. But when I went into that water, I definitely had a TBM, total body meltdown, in the spiritual dream realm. And so I'm relating this dream as personal as it gets. And when I'm doing what I'm doing right now is also teaching you to understand that the symbols that come to you also reference your personal life in your waking life, what these elements may mean to you as well. Now, let's start off with the dream interpretation sheet. The first question is, what did you dream about? We explained that dream. I dreamt about some alligators. What do alligators mean to me in my waking life? I don't know if I like them, but I don't hate them, but I just don't want to be around them because I feel like I don't want to be gator meat. You know what I'm saying? Gator meat. No pun intended. But, what type of energy are you feeling the instant you wake up? I felt a sense of relief and peace. And then we go down to what type of energy are you feeling in the dream? I felt a very peace and it was calm. It was calm and just peaceful. And then it says, what are your cultural beliefs behind the dream? Now, you all know how I feel about the cultural part, right? I grew up in a culture where everything that didn't make sense, it had to be a witch. I kid you not. If it didn't make sense and if it wasn't sound, oh no, there was no time to scientifically prove anything where I come from. Forget science. We just gonna say the witches did it. So, so growing up a little bit in my culture and then also growing up in a Western culture has also had me with the belief of that with these alligators, I'm taking it off my personal values of not really being akin to or being friendly with alligators. I don't like them. But you let my people tell you, they'll tell you the alligators are witches coming to you to eat you up and whatnot. Anyways, so cultural beliefs about it. I just don't like alligators. Okay, let's just leave it like that. All right, so list. I just don't list everything you see in the dream. So as it pertains to everything we see in the dream, I wrote down 3 alligators: a baby blue alligator, a yellow alligator, a green alligator. The guide, a person, a human form person in C form green, face not recognized, even fingers not recognized, and a pond with a light white tint, almost like a light white milky tint. I recognize lotus flowers decorated on the top of the pond water. And let's see here, what else did I recognize? Make sure I got everything else. Yeah, I recognize the road or the little pathway we were walking on, the rocks, and it was just a peaceful walk. All right. So it says on the sheet, where are you in the dream, and or what are you doing? So remember this question, if we go back at the start of learning Robert J. Haas's book, where one of the questions in there talks about also speaking about ourselves in the present tense, which I thought that was really cool stuff that I learned that day. But so it says, where are you in the dream, and or what are you doing? Right. So, and what are you doing? So we put that Robert J. Haas information we learned and says, what are we doing? And you put in parentheses there in present tense. Now, unless if you've had like a soul travel and you're in the 1800s, then you write that down. But let me not jump ahead of the gun now. All right. So where am I? I'm next to the pond walking. And what am I doing? I'm walking with a guide. And I don't recognize, of course, like most dreams that I do have, it's me as the avatar. So I'm not seeing myself. So, or it's not an omnipresent dream where I could see all around for the most part. I've had a few of those. Really freaky. All right. So the next part is, what colors and or numbers do you see in the dream? Numbers are as significantly important as colors, and we have written down the colors: blue, baby blue, yellow, green. We have a seafoam green, and then we have the green for the gator green, and we're going to put those together because remember, we just read the color work, and it says to put the colors as close to proximity as we can. So when you look at Mr. Haas's chart of colors, it doesn't have the baby blue and the seafoam green and the fuchsia, and all these immaculate colors and so forth. But we're going to pair it according to what we have on the chart, because a color is a color is a color. Green is green is green. Blue is blue is blue. All righty. All right. So I wrote my colors down, and that's what we're doing today, is doing the color work before we describe the entire dream on what I believe the message for that was. And so here are my descriptions. Blue, paired it up with the chart and my emotions and my feelings in the dream, and of course in my waking realm, so that baby blue color, baby blue, and then we could say blue because blue is the closest. Like I say, the chart is not doing all of that. Like, come on. And so we blue, even though when you look at the chart, though, it looks like a baby blue color, but it just says blue. So let's work with that. So there is tranquil peacefulness, right? And these color breakdowns are coming from Robert J. Haas's color chart that you can find on the website. Once again, that's thedreamscience.org, working with color in dreams, and or you could find the color chart in Dream Language, Self-Understanding Through Imagery and Color by Robert J. Haas. All right, so blue, tranquil, peacefulness as it pertains to that dream. And as my energy and emotions were connected to that dream. And then the yellow can represent joy and optimism. And then green, let's go look. I wrote the number next to it. But let's go. So green is, I need to increase the certainty of my own value and status. Okay. And so light white, it's like a little, I don't know how to describe it, but I put this white. We found white. And so I wrote down the number from the chart. I have a new outlook a new awareness. All right. And then lotus flowers, once again, depending on culture, tradition, beliefs, and so forth. I've always believed positive things about the lotus flower, and that it for me, it's always been one of those symbols of positivity. And so when you compare lotus flowers into spirituality, it can represent even just the color of the lotus flower and the green around it, but it can represent a self-renewing or a rebirth. I want to get a lotus tattoo. You know what I'm saying? All right, I digress. You know what I'm saying? All right, so badly I do. But we'll figure that out one day. All right. And so, and it's very significant that rebirthing is happening. I feel it happening on my journey to my true self. There is a lot of awareness and a lot of self reflection and realization going on this path. And that's why this part of the dream was so significant for me. Let's see, what else do we have here? What else? All right. So I think we broke down the colors according to the chart. So this is what I gathered at the end of the dream when I woke up. So what I gathered was I was facing, there's something in my life that I am on this journey to true self, but there's a bigger endeavor that scares me sometimes, or that puts me in a moment of fear sometimes. And that's why I had been summoning, seeking the, summoning is a deep word, but I'd been seeking my guide, and more so I'd had messages in my spiritual dream realm, but I wanted to, for the first time as well, like a nosy po that I am, just, also check out my guide and talk to him. But my guide showed me enough, right? They're like, you don't have to be too nosy. You ain't got to see all of this. You don't have to see all of this. But the message that I gathered from it was, even in the moments of fear, the things that I fear, such as big things that seem very fearful in my life, such as these gators represented in my life, that my guides are always going to be there to have my back, and that I should not fear anything, even if it feels that I have fallen into a place where I cannot pull myself up. There's always going to be help around me, whether it's in the supernatural of the guides or people around me. There's always going to be help. And then that I should face these things that I fear head on, because the things that I fear are not there to attack me, but to teach me a life lesson. Because as you could tell, the gators didn't eat me up, gobble, 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 but it was just my own self-reflected fear. And that also taught me a deeper awareness to face these fears head on, and to stop putting so much energy in that thing that I fear, but to know that I'm surrounded by help in all directions, and to know that this journey to true self is definitely a representation of a rebirth and a direction in a positive path for me, and that nothing but tranquility and peace and optimism has so far been lining this yellow brick road, but has been lining this brick road. Hello, we were walking on, like, it was like rocks that were like cobblestone, but they were like rocks. All right, anyways, I digress. So folks, now you understand about dream decoding and how powerful it is. Honestly, it is just really what you're doing is getting messages for yourself, for the waking realm, right? So you're taking your pen, you're taking your pencil, you're taking your paper, and you're writing down those colors, and you're just decoding those messages. And meeting my guide was interesting because it gave me my husband vibes. If you didn't listen to, I think it's one of the first few podcasts I talked about when it came to dream decoding. And it was at that point in time in my life where I'd been single for such a long time. And I wasn't like, oh my gosh, I want to get married. But it just was one of those things at that age and at that time that I wondered. I just wondered, I wonder if I'm ever going to get married or whatever, And it was at that time where I had the dream 5 years before I met my husband. And so I say the guy thing gave me those same vibes, because there was given this opportunity to see him 5 years earlier, but never see his face, but complexion. I saw the complexion. I saw his hands, but so there was the same thing with the guide, and I was still satisfied. In the presence of the guide, it was this knowing. Even when by the pond, and like how dreams go, it wasn't like, how could you not see the fingers? Because it was a dream. It was this knowing of when I was in the water, a hand reached out and grabbed me, but I see the arm, the green. They were kind of lanky and skinny, if you ask me, but I digress from the legs. But I didn't see the fingers and stuff. That stuff, I guess my guy's like, that doesn't matter, right? What matters is for me to understand that not to be fearful and to brace life full force and full on, because those things I feared, they didn't even touch me. And the things you fear won't even touch you too. All right, guys, I love you so much. That was an awesome revelation. You guys, it's a great book. Keep reading, and we're going to catch up. There's definitely more stuff to come as we advance in our dream decoding class. We're going to learn a lot about the spiritual dream realm and how we can use it to benefit us in the waking life. Okay. I mean, and I don't even want to say benefit us, because the spiritual dream realm is our connection to spiritual beings anyways. It's always been a benefit. It's just that we tap into it and we get the messages from it like we should be doing. Love you guys so much.
Find me on Instagram under Memory Bengesa-Mosley. And Bengesa is BENGESA-MOSLEY. And once you're over there, check out the Linktree /author MB Mosley. You will find a list of all my links where to purchase my books. Or you can also take one of my writing courses, and you can follow the Betting Guide Publishing House. And or you can check out the next book releases. You also have my full website available there, where you can go to the blog section and print off your dream sheet templates. And I guess it was an Amazon influencer with the storefront. Check that out. And don't forget to click on the American Dreamer clothing. Yes, honey, yes. And then, of course, you have a link to the YouTube where I do upload some of the Dream Decoding Podcast. And it's an interactive platform as well. We can talk on Instagram or we can chat on YouTube. And definitely there's a Facebook link. And all these links are associated with my Instagram, IG, Memory Bengesa.
For God speaks in one way and or in two, though man does not perceive it. He speaks in a dream, in a vision of the night, when deep sleep falls on men while they slumber on their beds. Happy dreaming.